Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But those San Francisco 49ers don't have a pick until the third round, but they've got like 3 of them and 4 picks. Like they go pick, gap, pick, right?
I'm stressed about that already. Like, how do I report on that? They're going to make a pick, and then I got to do something, and then they're going to make another pick, and then one guy's going to be on the phone. But you guys aren't worried about me. But that's what's going to happen. 3 picks in a row is going to be very exciting. It's going to be like Christmas 3 times in a row. And I'm sure we're not going to – will we have heard of any of those picks? That's going to be the game. How many picks have you heard of these draft classes? Because we all know the first round guys. But third round – now you got to dig deep.
That's going to test who's like really been into this, who's really been, breaking down a lot of stuff and whatnot. Exactly. The 2 of us, Grant Cohn.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I've been watching quarterbacks.
That's good.
I have a lot of opinions on the quarterbacks. Yeah.
Are you also one of these people that's really been in on Dorian Thompson-Robinson going to the 49ers? Yeah.
I'm afraid because none of Chip Kelly's players ever work out, and this is like the next one. But I'm a UCLA fan, and I've watched him for years, and I'm like sold on the whole thing. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm usually wrong, but I like him. I mean, to me, like Brock Purdy worked out for certain reasons. He was very experienced at a young age, and that's this guy. He played for 5 years. He has a ton of reps. He's got. I don't want to sell you on Dorian Thompson. I like him. I feel like basically the way it works in drafts are there's one guy, and maybe there's a second guy. Every once in a while, there's a draft like the one with Burrow and Tua. I mean, it doesn't happen very often. So basically, my thought process is everyone's a bust except for one guy and maybe a second guy. So I feel like Bryce Young's probably good. And then everyone else I'm pretty skeptical of. And then DTR is my sleeper. And that's pretty much how I feel about that class.
No, you don't gotta sell me on Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm a fan. Yeah. I did a 32-person mock draft with a bunch of different writers and whatnot. And I was sitting, because I was using the Steelers and whatnot. I'm a Steelers guy for those who don't know. And then after the 5th round, they don't have anything till the 7th. They got 2 7th-round picks. I was trying with everybody to trade both 7s and a 6th in 2024 to get up into the 6th and take DTR. And nobody was budging. So
he'd be perfect for Pittsburgh. They need another quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. They need a backup in the room. And if Kenny doesn't take that step forward that everybody wants and expects him to, then you've got another guy right there. Say, all right, we'll try it with this kid, see what he can do.
Okay, I got a question to lead off this show since
Absolutely.
You're a Steeler guy.
Sure.
I looking at the Steelers, I feel like they need a hedge because I don't know about Kenny Pickett. I mean, he was a sort of a mid first round pick. You're not necessarily tied to him, and he wasn't super great. Although he wasn't, you don't give up on him. But if they could hedge, would they be interested in Trey Lance? I mean, if do they have a 3rd round pick this year to trade for Trey Lance, and would they be interested in that?
They do have a 3rd round pick. They have the 80th overall pick. Do I think?
How about that? 80th and a 4th and a day 3. I don't know. It's basically pretty cheap.
I don't think that they would. I don't think that they would, only because knowing this team, knowing how they're run, they've had 3 head coaches since 1847 or whatever the stat is.
Correct. And I admire that.
And so do I. So do I.
Yes.
And for better or for worse, they let things play out. They let things develop. Was Kenny Pickett great last year? No.
So they don't do what the Niners do. They don't trade up for a guy and then give up.
They're not an impulsive team, man. They are very patient. Like I said, for better or for worse, they are patient. And it's worked out in some cases. It hasn't worked out in some cases. You look at, and look, I was the biggest I opposed the Kenny Pickett pick. I was very against it. And as someone who has been critical of Pickett, you look at the way he played in the last 5 weeks of the season. It wasn't great, but you look at how he played in the 4th quarter of some games. You look at the throws that he made. There was definitely progression.
There's enough to not pull the plug the way the Niners are pulling the plug on Trey.
I've come around a little bit. Now, I'm not one of these diehard Yinzers who thinks he's going to be Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow wrapped up into one. But can he be?
I love that. Yinzer. Can he be Kirk Cousins? So good.
Yeah. Can he be like Derek Carr? Can he be Kirk Cousins? Yeah. But I think that's probably his ceiling. But the good thing is
that not exciting.
It's not exciting. However, though, with this roster and this defense, we've got Amika Fitzpatrick.
On a rookie deal, it could work.
On a rookie deal, exactly.
It could work.
Can you be successful with a Derek Carr-esque player with it? Absolutely. They were a borderline playoff team last year somehow by the grace of God after starting 3-7. If the Skylar Thompson – they started 3-7. If the Skylar Thompson Dolphins lose to the Jets in the final week of the season, the Steelers would have played Buffalo in the wild card round and then got their crap kicked in for the second time. Don't get me wrong, but So
sorry, I'm just looking for a trade market for Trey Lance, and I'm not finding it, man. What team is really going to do that? I mean, if he were in the draft this year, it would be one thing, but I mean, he broke his ankle. He only has 2 years left on his rookie deal, and he's making like $10 million a year. And like everyone knows, he's been a project, still is a project. The Niners really haven't, advanced his career at all. So what's your timeline? How do you work with Trey at this point after what the Niners did to him? I'm really curious to see if there's actually a trade market or if teams are just calling up to see if the Niners are giving him away.
There's one team that sticks out to me a lot, and it's Tennessee. I think that if you're the Titans, here's my thought process with the Titans. Am I winning a Super Bowl this year with Derrick Henry? No. Am I winning a Super Bowl this year with Ryan Tannehill? No. I'm moving off both of them while I can still get as much assets as I can back. They already lost 3 starting offensive linemen from last year. The pass defense was atrocious down the stretch last year. You're not going anywhere with these stars. You may as well just try to get as much as you can while you can and bring it. If they wanted to bring in Trey Lance and trade, a mid-round pick for him, and why not? And if they can get Trey Lance with a mid-round pick, trading it to San Francisco. And if they can take Bijan Robinson right there, all right, that's a start.
Now you're starting over, yeah.
So, and then they've got to address the offensive line and the secondary throughout the rest of the draft. It's not going to be
their GM came from the Niners. Their GM came from the Niners, and he was there when they drafted Trey. Connective
tissue there. So I think it makes a lot of sense that Trey ends up in Tennessee.
Let me argue against that. Not that I don't want. I'm skeptical. Again, let's say I like DTR. So here's a decision for Tennessee. What they could do is they could trade a 3rd round pick for Trey Lance. Yeah. Right? They could trade a 3rd round pick for Trey Lance and pay him $10 million a year for the next 2 years, and then figure out what to do with him in a couple years and try to rebuild him. And hopefully hopefully his ankle is okay. Or you could just draft DTR.
Yep.
Who you pay him $1 million a year. He's just as young. You have him for 4 years. He hasn't broken his ankle. He's not a project. I mean, it's easier to just do that. It's just easier. So again, where is what is the trade market for this guy? Is it day 3? Is it a 4th round pick? Is anyone going to call the Niners seriously about this? I bet you he stays on the team. Let me ask you
a question though, because if you're the 49ers, why would you be so keen on trading him? Because especially after what just happened, you went through 4 quarterbacks. You saw Trey Lance go down. You saw Jimmy go down. You saw Brock Purdy go down. You saw Josh Johnson go down. Christian McCaffrey was a quarterback at one point during the NFC Championship game. You went through 4 quarterbacks and a running back taking snaps in the NFC Championship game. Why are we rushing whatsoever to trade any quarterback?
That's a good question.
So
good questions. This is what they're doing.
I think that's why you're right. I think that's why you're right. I do think that we're going to have Purdy, Lance, and Sam Darnold all stay on the team. Because of that reason, because of everything that just happened, that we saw, all 3 quarterbacks went down. Let's not rush to trade anybody who we feel confident in putting under center regardless.
See, I don't think they look at it that way. I think they want to trade him. I think they'd love to trade him. I just don't think the market is there. I think they're getting way too ahead of themselves with Brock Purdy. They're acting like they've evaluated Brock Purdy as their franchise quarterback and evaluated that Trey Lance is trash. And they're not, they've said the first part. They're not really saying the second part. But to me, it's guys, one started 8 games, one started 4 games, and you guys have a terrible track record of evaluating quarterbacks. Why don't you chill? Because stop acting like you know. To me, look at it. Let's compare the Niners and the Eagles. I like comparing those 2 teams because they're the class of the NFC.
Sure.
Brock Purdy essentially is like the Niners version of Nick Foles. Nick Foles took over, got hot, went to the NFC Championship game, won it, went to the Super Bowl, won it, beat Tom Brady in a shootout. Yep. And the Eagles were like, thank you, Nick. You did your job. You're a hell of a backup quarterback. Good job. And they gave him a pat on the head. The Niners, had they done that with Nick Foles, they would have given Nick Foles a lifetime contract because they're way more sentimental than the Eagles. And it seems like to me, what Brock Purdy did was great, but he's a system quarterback. He essentially is just a better fit for the system than Jimmy. And the Niners are really getting, I don't know about the Niners. I think John Lynch is getting ahead of himself like he did with Jimmy. I think Kyle probably understands that he's the driving force of what's going on in this offense.
Yeah.
But Kyle's solution is bringing Sam Darnold. They're not serious about the quarterback position. And I'm not saying Trey Lance is the answer, but it's not Brock. They should be looking at Brock as man, this is our backup we got a great backup who can win us games when our franchise quarterback goes out. But he's not a franchise quarterback. Come on. You don't have to be an NFL expert to realize that Brock Purdy is not a franchise quarterback. He's cool. He can do the play action rollouts and stuff. But he's not going to beat Mahomes in a Super Bowl or Josh Allen. It's not going to happen.
No, no, you're speaking exactly my thought process right now. And I do think that like it's a double-edged sword having Kyle Shanahan, is it? Because you can plug just about anybody in there and they're going to look great.
Right.
And then you're going to have fans be like, okay, we want this guy. Or
that's our guy.
Be like,
he won his first 4 games. That's all we need to see. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, but
franchise quarterbacks take time.
Guess who else won their first few games? Like Duck Hodges won his first few games as the Steelers quarterback when they plugged him in 2019. And guess where he is? Right. I'm pretty sure he's in Canada right now.
That's right.
So we need to find the line. And the line is Brock Purdy played well given the situation he was in, which is having a ton of all pros around him and the best play caller in the NFL and a great defense.
Let's be clear. Like what makes him tough is when you put him under center and McCaffrey's behind him and the whole defense is looking at McCaffrey and you do a play action and he boots to his left. I mean, he got the defense so many times, like just all focused on McCaffrey. He's naked, running to the left, not actually naked, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I mean, that worked over and over and over and over again. I mean, teams are going to catch on. Also, if McCaffrey's not there, what is Brock Purdy? What is he? If McCaffrey's not on the field, I'd love to know that.
I would love to know what he would be just in like an average situation. Like, okay, we were talking about Kenny Pickett. Switch Kenny Pickett and Brock Purdy last year. Let's see how that goes.
Kenny would be great. He would do everything Brock did.
Kenny Pickett
Brock would be over there.
Quarterback, is he not? Like he doesn't have a big arm, athletic enough. He would have. I think the 49ers might have beaten the Eagles last year if they had Kenny Pickett under center.
And I think Kyle thinks that way too. And I think what he's thinking is, okay, John's trying to tie me down to Brock like he tied me down to Jimmy. I'm not going to let him do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Sam Darnold, and I'm going to say I can do the same stuff with Sam Darnold. I'm like, Kyle, no, not Sam. Not Sam. So what I'm hoping is Sam's just a placeholder for when they draft a quarterback. But they gave Sam $3.5 million guaranteed, man. That's a lot to then cut him down, you know?
Credit to Sam Darnold. And the final month and a half of the season, he played well.
He won some games. He won some games.
He didn't mess things up. They relied on the defense in the run game, and Sam was a fine placeholder who didn't screw things up.
Do that here. Just don't mess it up.
Exactly.
He fumbles like 3 times a game. Jarrett. he's a disaster. I don't understand but he's been this way since like his last year at USC too, man. This is Sam Darnold.
Oh, disaster. I was a Sam Darnold truther, man. I swung and missed hard on Sam Darnold. I was a big Sam Darnold guy.
I hate USC guys because I'm a UCLA guy, so I just watch him like this guy's trash. He ain't trash. He's not that good. He's not that good, and he wasn't.
I have just $1 million idea in my head that I'm hoping both teams cash in on and shock the world. The Cardinals, sticking with the NFC West, are sitting at 3. They're a team that right now has David Blau as their starter because Kyler Murray's gone for at least December. They're going to have David Blau start games with
Was he ever there? I mean, is he a football player or a Call of Duty player? You tell me. What is his passion in life?
I do recall David Blau starting a game for the Lions against the Bears on Thanksgiving, and he threw a bomb with the first play from scrimmage, and the Lions fans went berserk, and it was great. I don't know much about him outside of that.
David Blau went to Purdue.
He did?
Am I right? He did. He went to Purdue, and his coach was Jeff Brom. He played with Rondale Moore. I know all about. No, he's terrible. I'm sorry. They got to do something there. What are they going to do? They're just going to tank, right?
No. Hear me out. So, first of all, these guys aren't the current administration in Arizona, not tied to Kyler Murray. If they end up with the number 1 overall pick, you're drafting Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
So you're trading Kyler?
I mean, assuming he plays well next year, which I would assume because everyone plays well under Lincoln Riley. Yeah, it looks great.
I mean, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, if I'm, the new Cardinals, by the way, I don't want to be Jonathan Gannon right now after
he's terrible.
Oh, dude, he does not look good. He does not look ready for that. He looks like a deer.
30 plus sacks. He had that comment. He made up an exchange.
A ton of comments about a presser that didn't happen with stats.
Didn't happen. He said he was leading the league by 30 sacks. It's like, dude, oh man.
So
anyway.
I guess I've got 2 proposals. One, you just stick with Blau, you suck, you tank, and you try to get Caleb Williams, then you move Kyler Murray. Or you trade number 3 to the Patriots and a package with Mac Jones, because it's very evident that Bill Belichick does not want Mac Jones. Mac Jones to the Cardinals. The Patriots get it to number 3, and they take probably Anthony Richardson, because if you're Belichick, like you're looking at Mac Jones and Bailey Zapp, what the hell do you have there? There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Jeez, Mac Jones. I don't like Mac Jones at all.
I don't like Mac Jones at all either.
He has like zero leadership qualities. Doesn't he comes across as a whiner.
However, though, if you're the Cardinals and you're trying to, stay competitive and show that you're trying to be competitive for at least this year until Kyler gets back, you get Mac Jones and it at least puts on the facade that, like, okay, we're trying to win games.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. The Cardinals seem like they have no direction. They got Jonathan Cannon. Like, where are you going? But let's talk about the quarterbacks for a second. I think I have a theory that I wouldn't draft a quarterback unless he threw essentially at least 900 throws in college. I would just rule out every quarterback who didn't do that, unless the guy was like Brady, where like he graduated and he got pushed out, and it was like if you left college before you threw 900 throws, I got questions about you. Like, why'd you leave? I mean, at this point in college, like you could transfer wherever you want to go. You could get paid. Like, why did you leave before you were ready? Yep. Because you're essentially going to go somewhere and there's a high probability you're going to bust because you're not ready. And it's like, do you care? Are you just in it for your first payday, or are you really trying to do what's best for you long term? And like Richardson, you left after 300 throws. Why? You could get paid in college. Why'd you leave? And so I just wouldn't do it. I mean, you look at guys like the full list of guys who came out. I'm with Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. They played in junior college. That counts. Yeah. Those are live bullets. That counts. But yeah, dude, like Levis, like I guess he graduated, but 700 throws, I'm skeptical. Like are you ready? I don't know, man. So that's my thing right there. I don't know.
He just looks like a guy that the Colts are going to take and then regret.
Yep.
Like they're going to look at what he did at a pro day against Air. He threw it 1 billion yards up, but he doesn't sense pressure whatsoever. He makes really dumb decisions. Like
he's like Darnold.
Kind of, yeah.
He's a turnover waiting to happen, and always has been. I think that's going to change in the pros. It's going to change in the pros. Like he's a disaster at Kentucky. Couldn't even play at Penn State.
Slightly more athletic Sam Darnold. He can run a little bit.
He's like Sam Darnold with muscles.
Yeah. He's like CrossFit Sam Darnold.
He's like a quirky, like mayonnaise drinking Sam Darnold, man. I can't see a team getting behind that guy. He's weird.
I don't either. But when this whole thing started, like I saw like the Bible verse tattooed on his inner bicep. I was like, oh Christ, Frank Reich's going to draft him, isn't he?
Oh no.
He's
climbing up the boards. I mean, people were making fun of him, but now it's like, don't be surprised if he goes number 2. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes number 1.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me a lot of the 2018 draft when everybody's like, all right, Mayfield might go in the first round, and then he ends up being taken number 1 overall. Like, my goodness. If there was a team that takes him, like if you're the Panthers, I don't think they're gonna. But if you take Will Levis number 1 overall, there's got to be a lot of questions happening.
I would think so. But I mean, to me, it's a tough year to have the number 1 pick because I think most people agree that Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this draft, but he's 5'11".
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to draft a 5'11", 194 quarterback with the first pick. It's really hard to do. And so you start like looking at Will Levis and he's like, well, he looks more like the prototype. Yeah, but he sucks. Yeah. Or at least he's right now. He could improve, but he literally sucked in college. So
and not to say that like height and size is everything, but because like we've had like Mike Glennon, he was 6'9" and he sucked. So like you got to find the happy medium. When people look at like the Bryce Young thing, they say, "Oh, Kyler Murray was but Kyler Murray was also thick. Like he's 5'10" and like 210. Like
and Kyler Murray didn't fail because he's short. He failed because he's like he loves Call of Duty like too much. That is the issue with him. He needs to reprioritize his whole life. But I don't know. I think Bryce Young's gonna be really good. I don't have a problem with him. But I could see a team being like, we can't take a non-prototypical athlete in the top 10. Sean Payton said that a few months ago. So I can see a team making teams make bad decisions on quarterbacks all the time. All the time.
Which is why it's so, like, when you find one, you pay him what he wants. Like, if I'm the Bengals, I'm giving Joe Burrow whatever the hell he wants when the time comes. If I'm the Chargers, I'm giving...
You're not finding another Joe Burrow. You're not flipping him and finding another.
You're not finding another Justin Herbert. I'm giving him the key to Los Angeles. I'm giving him $60 million, whatever.
And if the Chiefs can win a Super Bowl paying Patrick Mahomes $50 million a year, you could probably figure it out too. Just draft well.
Yes. And
just draft well.
It's not to say that every team needs to model the Chiefs because, it's very easy to say, just do what the Chiefs do.
Just get Travis Kelce.
Let's get Travis Kelce. Go get Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and maybe the best quarterback we've ever seen. However, though, when you've got quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, you can do some things because of their talent alone that other teams cannot. Like the Chargers will have a higher ceiling than teams like the Vikings just because Herbert is just simply better than Cousins and can do things that Cousins can't. And I don't know, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, because there's only so many quarterbacks in the league. Like when you get into the Super Bowl and you really have to do a shootout with Patrick Mahomes and like play actions off the table.
How many people can really do it?
That's like how many times can you drop back and shotgun and like protect yourself and get the ball down the field and not turn the ball over against Mahomes because he's perfect. Maybe I don't even know. Is there another guy in the league who can do it? I mean, it's not. Brock.
We see Josh Allen showed that he could do it. It just 13 seconds happened and the Bills defense bit him in the butt.
His team sucks, dude. Sorry. He has no weapons. His best running back is him. They got to do better for him. He's got nothing over there. It's like Wyoming.
The Buffalo Bills were maybe the biggest tease of any team in recent memory. And look, granted, they went through.
Fire McDermott. Get rid of him. Get an offensive coach. Get an offensive coach over there.
Get out of here.
Get Shanahan over there.
Get a good offensive coordinator. They had that, and then Dable left for the Giants, and then they brought in Wackadoo and Dorsey.
He was the most important coach on that team. You could clearly see. Absolutely.
You
that guy's good.
Numbers with Josh Allen. Brian Dable was very important. Like, look at the correlation between, Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over with Brian Dable. Daniel Jones turns the ball over more than any quarterback. He gets Brian Dable, and he just doesn't turn the ball over. There's a direct correlation there. There's a line that we can
That guy's a quarterback whisperer. Kyle is a quarterback like shouter. Play better!
That is a fantastic line. That is hilarious. Oh, that's funny. So when it comes to Buffalo, though, I'm glad that you brought that up because it seems it's almost a matter of like when, not if, they're going to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. It looks like the draft night is going to be when they acquire DeAndre Hopkins.
He's washed. I
don't think he's washed. I think that he's a really good wide receiver 2 right now. I don't think he's like a prototypical 1.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Stephon Diggs, I think that's fine.
You got to take a little off his plate because he's starting to get hurt a little bit. But I mean, they just gave him so many damn targets a game in Arizona. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Well, that's the thing. Like it was all right. Am I going to throw to DeAndre Hopkins or Andy Isabella
or no one? Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would help them, I guess, because I mean, they got Diggs. Yeah, Diggs and Hopkins.
They got Diggs, and then they've got Gabe Davis, who was expected to take a massive jump after that 4-touchdown performance and just didn't.
But he's like a big play home run threat, but that's
fine. Like I think he caught. I looked at his numbers. He caught like 40 passes and he averaged like 19 yards a catch. It was something absurd. That's fine, but he can't be your number 2. He can be your number 3 in a big play option. That's fine. But then they don't have Isaiah McKenzie anymore. He's a Colt. They have Khalil Shakir, who's going to be like their 3rd or 4th. Like they need.
They go Boise State. I think
Khalil Shakir. I think so. I think that's right.
Hey, that's a guy I know. No, that team's not serious. I feel like Cincinnati's so much better put together. They have real weapons on that team.
Yeah,
even though I like Allen better.
Talk about drafting well. Like you look at just how.
And then you got the Chargers who suck.
Poor Justin Herbert. If you're Justin Herbert, are you getting out of there when the time comes?
He should have paid attention to Eli Manning. Eli was like, "No, I'm not playing for this stupid ass franchise. They suck. They're cheap. They suck." And he was right.
Cheap and they suck.
They're cheap and they suck. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't know. So
my thought process is that all of these great young quarterbacks, whether it's Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, these guys, not all of them are going to finish their careers where they are right now. And
if I ask you a question about Hurts,
go ahead.
Does Hurts is he as good as the Eagles think he is, or is he fool's gold?
I don't think he's fool's gold, but I definitely think that having those weapons around him helps. I think he needs slightly more help than the other guys. Like
he's Mahomes, got the best team.
We saw what Mahomes did throwing to me and you at receiver.
Yes.
And
can Hurts do that? I don't know.
I don't think Hurts can do that. I'm not trying to knock him. I think he's good. He's a top 10
quarterback. Yeah, he's good.
Without a doubt. Yeah. But do I think that he's on the same level as Mahomes, Allen, Burrow? No.
Has he proven it? I don't know. I mean, he just got the money, but to me, he's never under pressure in the pocket. He has the best offensive line.
That's true. He has a great offensive line.
They always go for it on 4th down. So on 3rd down, you don't know if they're going to – you never know when they're going to pass, which is genius. But I feel like they put him in great positions, and he's really, really good, and he definitely makes their team work. But curious to see if when he's making a ton of money and he doesn't necessarily have that team around him, if he can overcome the way the guys in the AFC have to.
Right. And I agree with that 100%. Yeah. And again, it's not to say that he's not great. He is.
He's very good.
But I
like
don't
him a lot.
think – but if you switch place, like between the Super Bowl teams, if you put Mahomes on the Eagles, I don't know if they lose a game.
Oh, no. And again, like if you put Justin Fields on the Eagles, they'd be great. They'd be great. So I do. I really do think so. Because to me, there's so many easy throws for Jalen Hurts. No, I mean, it's so many RPOs and like swing passes and little. I mean, and then the occasional shot plays and running. I mean, it's not a hard offense as opposed to Kyle's, which is so complicated. I mean, it's essentially like Oklahoma or Ohio State. It's very collegey what they do.
It is very collegey, like RPO and bombs away.
And why not? I think more teams in the NFL should do it because that way you might actually succeed with Justin. Why would you draft Justin Fields and try to get him to play like any other way? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Yeah. And I hope that he gets a big jump this year because he's so fun to watch. But at the same time, throwing wise, and again, I think you mentioned it. It's not all his fault. He had his number one receiver last year. Grant was Equanimous St. Brown. What are we doing?
Not fair. So now he's got some guys, which is great. But let's see, can you put together the right scheme around him? Like, stop trying to put him in something he shouldn't do. I think Philly's shown it. Indy's going to do it. You can incorporate a lot of the college-style offense in the NFL game. You don't have to go full Chip Kelly. You never want to go full Chip Kelly. But you can incorporate a lot of this stuff and get these spread offense quarterbacks on the field and immediately, as opposed to, I don't know, what the Niners tried to do with Trey Lance.
Yeah, I'm going to get some comments in here, too, because there's been a ton of people in the chat.
Sure.
So let's see. We got JM617. Hurts had a 70-sack defense and still couldn't. Yeah, I mean, the defense was phenomenal. We didn't even mention the defense. Right. We talked about the offense around him. The defense was ungodly.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, look, what were they going to do? Not pay him? I understand it, and I think the way they structured it was probably pretty clever, but I'm just curious. Like, I can't get over his Hail Mary at the end of the Super Bowl. Dude, it didn't even come close.
Yeah,
it was like a 30-yard Hail Mary. Was his shoulder messed up? Like, what was that? Jalen?
This is another
He's a good player, though.
Hurts throws floaters.
He does.
He's a great player.
He's accurate, though.
He's accurate as hell. He's a pain in the ass to game plan against, obviously. What's up?
Also, so you look at his stats. He had 15 rushing touchdowns. It's like, oh my God. Half of them are just the quarterback sneak thing that he does. That is a large. That is such a large part of his value is the quarterback sneak, which is amazing to me. Like, he is a quarterback sneak god, but it's also the entire offense.
And it's everybody in the backfield is shoving him forward 3 yards. So you
take away that play. I don't know. How much money would he have gotten?
I was at during the combine. I was at a thing that Peter King was hosting at this brewery place, like this local microbrewery. Shane Steichen was there, and somebody asked him if that play was coming to Indianapolis, and he confirmed that the push sneak would be on its way to Indianapolis.
Dude, that's a great play. That's a great play. I mean, if you can get to 4th and 1, if you can get to 1st and goal at the 1, it's a guaranteed conversion. Yeah. They're going to have to change the rule. It just seems like such an advantage. Why would you not do it? Especially
because, the defense is already at such a disadvantage. You can't breathe on receivers. If you don't look back at a certain time when the ball's in the air, you're going to get flagged. We need to do something.
That's another reason why Brock Purdy can't be a franchise quarterback. To be a franchise quarterback today, you got to be an elite quarterback sneaker, man. It's too important. It's too important. Those are touchdowns that you're leaving out. And that's the one thing about Brock. He's not nearly the quarterback sneaker that Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is an underrated quarterback sneaker. And he doesn't have anyone pushing him. No. It's just him and that jawline alone against the world.
That's how we got the jawline. It just got chiseled through helmets.
Chiseled. It's true. Anyway.
What do you think he's going to do in Vegas?
It's fail. I'm sorry. He's not good. I've always contended that he's a backup quarterback. And he's a backup. And I think Kyle propped him up. He's got this win-loss record. He's going to lose.
I agree. If anybody in the chat without Googling can name more than 2 players on the Raiders defense not named Chandler Jones or Max Crosby, I don't know what I'll give you, but you'll have my respect. I know I sure as hell can't. Is Jonathan Abrams still there? I feel like he left.
I don't think so. No, I can't. Defense is trash. It's going to be trash. No, it's not. No, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. No.
It's going to be – they have no offensive line. Josh Jacobs is going to be pissed because he got tagged. You got Devontae Adams, who I feel like Devontae probably doesn't want to be there anymore. You got Hunter Renfrow, Gary Rice.
How long before Devontae Adams just freaking hates Jimmy Garoppolo? Before he's showing him up on the field. He's jumping up and down. Yeah, pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of it. You remember, I don't know if you remember that Thursday night game between the Colts and Broncos last year whenever Russell Wilson had a wide open KJ Hamler for a game-winning touchdown, didn't even look his way. KJ just takes off his helmet and throws it.
Yeah.
He's so frustrated.
I mean, they're going to draft a quarterback too, so he's going to have a guy breathing down his neck, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, maybe they take DTR. What do you think about that?
I think that would be great for them. It's going to be interesting for Jimmy because Jimmy had so much cachet built up from the fact that he won his first 5 games and the team was 1-10. Like that did everything. Jimmy was terrible in practice. Trey Lance is getting shipped out of town because he's not good in practice. Jimmy was always terrible in practice, but he won those first 5 games and that meant so much to this team because they felt like losers and then he made them feel like winners. He hasn't done that to the Raiders. They're just a team. They don't know him. If he comes in and loses his first 2 games, they're going to look at him like, who the hell are you?
Put in Jarrett Stidham, damn it.
Can we get Derek Carr back? Like, honestly, they downgraded at quarterback. What the hell were they thinking?
Absolutely. I don't know what the thought process. Obviously, there's connective tissue with McDaniels and Jimmy from New England and whatnot, but like,
okay,
what
you downgraded? Is he
moving the needle? No.
Yeah, he moved it the wrong way.
The wrong way. Yeah. At the very best, that was a lateral move, depending on what happens.
But he's such a good mentor. Just ask Trey Lance. Okay, sweet. Yeah,
it's going to be great when he has no George Kittle, no Deebo Samuel, no just anybody.
No Kyle Shanahan. Now you got Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is the guy who thinks he made Tom Brady. You got to love that about Josh McDaniels. That's all you need to know about Josh. Name one player that has ever played for Josh McDaniels that has something nice to say about him. Name one.
Can't.
You can't.
I don't know. When he was in Denver, and obviously he did horrible in Denver because he immediately shipped out Jay Cutler and brought in Kyle Orton and Tim Tebow. But there's like
yes, he did.
NFL Films bites of him and Kyle Orton talking on the sidelines, and he just comes off as like a supreme douche. Like nobody seems to like Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I mean, like I often think that Kyle Shanahan is like the most arrogant person I met, but give Kyle credit. Like a lot of players will go to bat for Kyle. A lot of players like him and will go to bat for Kyle. No one will say that or do that for Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels has won championships. Kyle hasn't. What does that say about Josh? I mean, man, he must be exactly what he presents to be. That's all I can think.
And on the same thing, like it was also, being an offensive coordinator under Bill Belichick when Kyle Shanahan got to the Super Bowl when his head coach was Dan Quinn and his quarterback was Matt Ryan. And correct. So we gotta.
And again, Josh is the guy who thinks it's all him. He had Brady, he had Belichick, and he's like, "I'm the guy." Like,
I'm the guy.
What happened in St. Louis? What happened in Denver? What's gonna happen in Vegas?
Oh, he was in St. Louis, wasn't he? I forgot.
Yeah, that didn't go so good. He was OC for like a minute and a half. Oh my God, had to go right back to New England. He'll be back in New England in 3 years. Watch.
I'd
2
say
years.
Safe bet.
Oh yeah.
Unless Bill O'Brien just
yes. it. Yeah, I wouldn't count on that. Bill O'Brien. Yeah, with Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Boy. Whew. I feel like the Patriots are going nowhere. They don't know what they're doing.
The Patriots might be the most boring team in the league.
So they're terrible. They're slow. They're really boring. I think this is great for Bill Belichick's legacy. I think he was grossly overrated. I think he got Tom Brady, and that's great. But Tom Brady was the reason they won all those championships, not Bill Belichick. And now we get to see that. Keep going, Bill. Keep building the most boring team in the league and stick with it. Right now, Pete Carroll's got more of a clue than freaking Bill Belichick.
How about that? Geno Smith.
I like what they're doing with the Seahawks. Now, he's not the answer.
No, he's not a long-term answer, but
he's not.
Spurts, why not?
I mean, he's better than what they had. He's better than Russell Wilson at this point, and they can still add to that room. So, Niners better watch out because that team's improving, and the Niners have pretty much, I don't know.
If Anthony Richardson's available at 6, do you take him if you're the Seahawks?
See, I'm trying to stick to my rule of not drafting quarterbacks.
All right, yeah, you did say you had a rule.
I just feel like look at the list of quarterbacks. I wouldn't do it, but they might. I mean, I don't think they should because at 6 they could get a franchise cornerstone defensive player theoretically, and I don't know that Richardson's going to be that. So, but is Jalen Carter that guy though? I mean, what is he doing to his draft stock? Here's my question with Jalen Carter. I haven't watched a ton of him. 6 sacks in college. What are you getting? Is he a pass rusher? Really? What is he?
I mean, he's more of an interior guy, so you're going to have him plug the middle.
With the 6th pick in the draft, I'm good. That's Kinlaw. I'm good, dude. No. Any D tackle I'm taking in the top 10 has to be like Buckner, a guy or Darnold, a guy who's shown that he can get to the quarterback. That's the skill you want in the top 10. So I'm curious about Jalen Carter. Also, all the stuff that's happened to him recently. Like,
yeah, it's man. That was the craziest thing at the combine too, by the way. Just everybody waiting for him to come out, and then all that stuff drops as he's supposed to take the podium. It was bedlam, man. Yeah. But yeah, Seattle's good. Cardinals are just a joke, and the Rams aren't far behind the Cardinals. The Rams. Whoa. Yeah, what are they doing? We haven't really talked about the Rams McVay comes back.
It seems like they're like tearing it down. It's like a multi-year tear down. Like, are they even rebuilding yet?
They trade Jalen Ramsey for practically nothing. They trade Allen Robinson, who they literally they gave him away for nothing. They just moved up 17 spots in the 7th round. Granted, that whole thing was a mistake. That shouldn't have happened. But yeah, what do they have outside of Stafford, Kupp, and Darnold? They would do this again, by the way. They made the trade for Stafford with the goal, we are going to win a Super Bowl. They did it. And I think in the back of their heads, they kind of knew, okay, we might suck for a year or two, but it's all worth it to get the ultimate prize. They would absolutely do it again. And who can blame them? But
here's my question. Would McVay, why is he not an announcer at this point? Like, leave. Where is the future with this team? Like, they seem like they need a total teardown and a total rebuild. Like, Stafford, he's not going to be the quarterback of this team when they're good again.
No,
I feel like they're totally spinning their wheels right now. I mean, what's Aaron Donald going to be like when they're good again? I feel like they're done. They got to rebuild.
I'm surprised that he came back. Like, what are you?
Why retire?
Exactly.
This team is going nowhere.
You're going to be taking so many hits for what? You're not going anywhere.
For nothing. For 6 wins, if that.
Other than
Stafford, your elbow hurts. Retire.
Keep climbing the sack board, maybe. I guess. Like the
I guess so.
If that's what he wants to do, then cool. But man, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
So that's 4 free wins for the Niners next year. 4. That's great.
Seems to be. I mean,
that's great.
They seem to always have the Rams number for the most part. And then the Cardinals. Yeah, I if I'm betting on a team to have the number 1 overall pick, I think it's Arizona.
I would think so. It's almost like they're positioning themselves for it. When they didn't get a quarterback at all, I thought they might get Marcus Mariota or something. They're like, nah, we're going to really suck this year. We're going with David Blau. Like, okay, fair enough. As long as your entire 53-man roster is on board with losing every game this year, go for it.
Oh, my God.
That's a cynical way to play football, knowing you're going to lose. Like, let me just get that check, baby. Like, oof.
The Cardinals have had quite the lineage of like week 1 starter, like John Skelton, Kevin Cobb.
Are they the worst franchise in the league? I mean, the way they had to fire their general manager last year.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez.
Haven't ever won a championship. Yeah, they might be.
They're up there. They're freaking awful. Do they have fans? Do they have fans?
To find them.
I don't even know. I don't even know if they have fans. I mean,
people might say,
why would you?
Like the Browns at least have like a history around them. You know?
Yeah, they have fans. They have a history. Like people kind of, it's a masochistic thing, but people follow that team.
What's the history of the Cardinals? Like Dan Deerdorf?
If they just folded this year, would anyone care?
No.
Like, you know what? The Cardinals aren't going to play this year. They decided they're out for 1 year. People would be like,
if the Cardinals were the team, like the first team was like, all right, we're going to have an NFL team in London and we're making it the Cardinals. They're leaving. I don't think everybody would be like, all right, we've got the Coyotes, we've got the Diamondbacks.
All 7 of their fans would protest. No!
We got the Suns. They got Kevin Durant now. I think we're chilling. Devin Booker's good.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, because in Phoenix, if you've been, they have baseball downtown, basketball downtown. Football is like hella far away in Glendale, which there's nothing in Glendale. I mean, I don't think football is really a embedded piece of the cultural fabric out there. Although, is there culture in Phoenix? That's my question. No offense. I was in Uber. I was in Uber, and I kind of judge all my cultural interactions, or a lot of them, based on how my experiences in Ubers and Lyfts. And there was a lady pick me up playing, really blasting Nickelback unironically. The whole way. And I was like, yep, that's Phoenix, pretty much. Nickelback. Unironically. Oh, sorry, are you a Nickelback fan? Sorry, I take it back if you're Nickelback.
Yeah. I feel like everybody just
like
Nickelback because they think it's cool.
I'm sorry. I take it back. You're sitting there being like, oh my God, he's attacking me right now.
Oh, I'm not like a Nickelback super fan per se, but I like him. Fine.
She was banging him. I was like, damn, like, is it 1999 right now? Damn. That's what's up. What's next? Sum 41? I like Sum 41. They had bangers.
I think that's where you lose me. I'm not like too much into 2000s.
The pop punk.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I appreciate you coming on, buddy, though. We can get out of here. It's been 40 minutes or so.
Yeah. I don't really remember what we talked about, but I had a great time, man. This was fun.
I did too. This is fun. We need to do it more often.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, to start the day. Are you going to watch the Warrior game tonight? Today?
I'm not a big basketball guy. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not.
Are you more of a NHL guy or just strictly football?
Yeah, hockey playoffs are my shit, man.
You're such a Pittsburgh dude.
I am.
I love that.
The first time that they have missed the playoffs since 2005, the Penguins.
Is Sidney Crosby still on the team?
He's still there. Yeah.
He's still there. Was it like 40 now?
He's doing incredible. Yeah, he's playing great.
That's great.
Team's not. He's still great.
See, I feel like East Coast is much more a hockey area. And the West Coast, no one gives a fuck.
You go to
like hockey on the West.
Boston, Pittsburgh, the blue collar cities, they love their hockey, man.
Chicago, I think
Chicago's a big
Detroit, big time, right? I'm trying to think, is there a hockey town on the West Coast? Denver, randomly,
a pretty decent one.
Although that's not even West Coast. They do not consider themselves West Coast in Denver. They think they're Midwest. They think they're like Omaha. They think they're like Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they think. There's a lot of that out there. Anyway,
does Vancouver
LA for a minute?
They're Western.
Vancouver, I guess. Yeah, Vancouver. The Kings when they had Gretzky back in the 90s.
Oh, the Kings, they won a cup. Yeah, like Jonathan
The Ducks when they made the Mighty Ducks in the 90s, back when Emilio was a big star. The Ducks were pretty
cool. The Ducks won a cup too in like 06. Getzlav and Corey Perry, I think
the Sharks have never won one though, have they?
They've been to one. They've lost to the Penguins in it.
They've lost. Yeah. The Sharks are I think they kind of have like a little bit of a following out here. Like a cult.
Our boy Jordan Elliott
go to Sharks games.
Yeah.
It's fun to go to a hockey game. It's fast.
Hockey is, I think,
they might fight
to experience live. It is a very fun time.
Did I retweet you this morning? I think, or yesterday about the fight.
I know.
It's just like the juxtaposition, like how there's just all out melees in hockey, and they're like break it up, and then like there's like posturing in basketball, and everyone's like, oh my god, there's children watching. It's like, oh my, come on, man. I don't understand that.
Full-fledged bare knuckle boxing matches in hockey. And their punch was, all right, sit in that box for 5 minutes, learn your lesson.
Draymond like steps on a guy and then like yells at the crowd and they're like, that is unacceptable, Draymond. It's like, what? Come on, it's great. If hockey can embrace it, why can't you? I like the fight.
Don't get me wrong. I think Draymond's a tool, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not a big Draymond guy.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, whatever. I like the fight. I mean, when we were kids, the NBA was like that too. When we were kids in the playoffs, there might just be a fight. That's what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying like wasn't there like a playoff game where freaking
Ron Artest,
Stan Van Gundy was like hanging on a player's leg? I mean, there were melees. Like the Knicks used to do that shit. Like the Pistons used to do that shit, and it was part of the game. Like now, it's like I don't know. It seems silly.
Bill Laimbeer would take your legs out from under you.
It was part of the game. Now it's very soft.
Big mean some bitch, Bill Laimbeer.
Yeah, I mean, look. Why do we like football? It's violent. Why do we like hockey? It's violent. There's no violence in basketball, which is, to me is a big detriment to the game.
Like you want to boost soccer ratings in America? Have like a 15-minute period and everybody can just beat the shit out of each other.
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem with soccer, right? It's just too soft for American. There's never going to be violence in that sport.
No.
And with baseball, you're like, hey man, that ball's going 95 miles an hour. Like that's dangerous. There's always there's a possibility that I think's in the back of your mind that something could happen. And in basketball, less and less, which is okay, I guess. You know, you got to protect those players, but they're already doing load management. They play 50 games a year. They breathe on each other. It's a flagrant.
I'm not trying to shit on professional athletes, but like as a whole, I think the NBA players, if we're going by like toughest to softest, there's not a competition that NBA players are the softest.
I feel like even like the old generation of basketball players will say it too. They're like, this guy, like what? They play 50 games a year.
Barkley will
like,
do
what are you talking about?
This is not going anywhere. Barkley will shit on everybody all day.
Is there load management in the NHL? Like, do players play 50 games just to preserve themselves for the playoffs?
You got bros out there playing with broken fibulas still on the ice because they want to win so bad.
Did you hear what happened with Andrew Wiggins this year? Did you hear this?
No, what?
Do you know about this? Okay. So Andrew Wiggins is like the 4th best player on the Warriors. Good, but not great.
Sure.
He left the team in February, and the team said he had a personal matter. They never explained it. He left for 2 months, and magically the personal matter went away when the playoffs started, and he was back. And they were like, that's it, he's back. It was personal. That's it. Can you imagine that happening in any other league where a player just leaves and comes back, and there's no report? No one says this is what's going on. It's just accepted. It's such an NBA thing. Only in the NBA.
Strange.
Only in the NBA. He's not here. He's not feeling up to it. He'll be back eventually. Oh, it's the playoffs. He's up to it.
I feel like that's been Kawhi Leonard's career in a nutshell, hasn't it, though?
I think he opened the door, essentially, to all of this. I mean, Ben Simmons, for Kawhi, it was like, man, my knee is going. I can't do this. For Ben Simmons, it was like, what was his issue? He left for a year, and it was like, was it mental health? He wasn't. It was all.
Might have been
that
mental
one really. It might have been mental health. And I think that kind of opened the door for like, hey, man, you could leave for whatever reason. Like, you're not feeling good. You know, you're depressed, you're whatever.
Not
like we never found out.
Not
to minimize that, but it's just interesting. Like it's a culture in the league where the players can leave for whatever reason. There's no explanation needed.
Yep.
That's it. And it's like, that's very unique to that league. That doesn't happen in NHL, baseball, football. Like, and isn't that, I feel like it's a very player, they have most of the power in that league, which is good. You want players to have power. But
absolutely.
Isn't that a little too much? Like at that point, aren't the fans suffering?
I think there's an absolute fine line.
Aren't the fans suffering? Yeah.
You talk about like the NFL players needing more power when it comes to money and contract and stuff like that. I think that when we look at an example like the NBA, I think that's a little bit too much, where they can just say, "Yep, not playing, trade me," and like they have to. Like,
or it's like, "Hey, man, I'm not playing tonight. I'm not feeling good. I'm taking the night off." Like, dude, these tickets are expensive. A lot of people are coming to see you. Like, I went one time this year and I paid like a couple $100 to bring my wife, and Curry was hurt. And so the only dude who was healthy was Clay, and he was out there doing warm-ups, and then he just walked off the court, and they were like, Clay's not feeling it tonight. And it was like, well, fuck. What the fuck? Why are we here? That's how I felt. I'm not even a fan, but I was like, damn, like had I known, I definitely wouldn't have bought tickets for this game.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
Had I fucking known, could you give me a little notice? Like Clay, no Clay or stuff? Okay. I'll save my $250 then.
I'm also
plus
like
parking and shit. Yeah.
I'm a big, you follow me. I'm a big pro wrestling guy. So like those dudes are always never 100%. They're still going out and doing their shit, you know? So I don't know. Yeah. There's a certain amount of like respect that I have for athletes that, not to say that everybody should like go out if you have a broken fibula and still play. You probably shouldn't, but like Cody Rhodes broke his tit off the bone and was wrestling with just half of his body bruised from a torn pectoral muscle. Maybe
also, if you want to take the mantle of greatest of all time from Jordan, go look at Jordan's box score. How many times he played 82 games? Was Jordan load managing? No, Jordan played every game, and then he went and drank at night and gambled and got like 3 hours of sleep and came back and kicked your ass again.
Yep.
Look, I'm not a big Jordan truther, but that was Jordan. That was freaking Jordan. Jordan didn't take nights off. Jordan partied hard. He had a very hard. I mean, if there was social media back then, Jordan would have been looked at way differently. Way differently. Everyone would have had it. Skip Bayless worships that guy. But if he was covering him in real time, everyone would have, we saw Jordan at the casino last night at 2 a.m. It's a game tomorrow. Oh, but he still went for 40. Anyway.
Is there anybody in the history of professional sports that just has a motor like him to be able to go play, drop 40, go gamble, hang out with a stripper or two, come back the next day and repeat?
Go play 18, drink, come back. Man.
Smoke 5 cigars.
Like, wouldn't he used to like bring out players from opposing teams in the finals to like gamble and golf and drink and just because he knew they couldn't hang. Yeah. He knew they couldn't hang and they'd be hungover. I don't know. Jordan was great. Mind games. But no, dude. If he were doing that today, if any player lived the life that Jordan lived today, I mean, it would be all over. Everyone would have something to say about it. Jordan is a very interesting person to think about, like in his place in time. Very 90s, very, you know.
I think you hit it right on the head. He played in the perfect era for him, where there was enough media coverage where everybody remembers him, but
he was idolized, but people didn't really scrutinize him the way they do LeBron.
Exactly.
Who has to be squeaky clean. He has to be so clean, can't do shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Steph can't do shit.
Mike's the very complete opposite of squeaky clean.
Oh my God. If he was, people would have such a problem with what he was doing, but no one remembers that stuff. It's all Jordan was the greatest at everything he did was perfect. Like, man, I don't know.
I think we kind of do that for Tiger though too. I feel like those are similar situations.
Absolutely. Weren't they friends? I feel like Tiger learned it from Jordan. He was like, oh shit, this is what I should be doing.
Should be up.
This is the lifestyle I should be living. I'm Tiger. Yeah, I'm Tiger Woods. I'm Tiger. Oh God, yeah, let's do this. All right. I'm gonna let you go, man. This was a lot of fun.
No, it was, buddy. I appreciate you. You guys know where to find Grant if you want to find stuff.
Hey, and if you're watching simulcasted on mine and you don't know who Jarrett is, this is Jarrett Bailey. Is a great YouTube channel. Please subscribe to his. That was the whole point of doing a simulcast is to sort of introduce Jarrett to my audience and vice versa. So if you don't know who Jarrett is,
did you watch me eat the shirt that everybody wanted me to do?
I saw clips. Thank you. That was just phenomenal content. And way to be a man of your word. In the future, you don't put yourself in that situation, man. Don't do
here's the thing, man.
A shirt?
I'm very much okay with committing to the bit. By the way, I'm committing to one right now. Every time that Grant comes on, it's a joke that I like dress up like a character from Newsies, and it's great.
You look great. Peaky Blinders a little bit.
I appreciate it. But so I somebody had slid into my Twitter comments saying that, the 49ers minimum 13-4. And I said, if they go 13-4, I'll eat a shirt. And they did. And me, Jason Aponte, Jordan Elliott, we kind of built Brad Graham as well, like kind of configured on how to do it because people were like, okay, you probably shouldn't eat an entire shirt. So we settled on like doing parts of it. And I'm like trying to chew this thing on air. It just wouldn't break down. So I just kept chewing them and it tasted like balls. I would spit them out and I would just keep repeating it. It was
okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. At least you didn't ingest shirt.
Yes.
That's good.
So
you don't want to do that.
The trade-off there was like, I didn't swallow any of it, but I was able to just chew a hell of a lot more than I would have.
You don't know what kind of dyes and shit are in that. Yeah, good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Did you air fry it? Did you deep fry it? Well,
no, here's the thing. My air fryer would have absolutely caught on fire, and I don't feel like getting a new air fryer.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
that's an important thing to have.
By the way, announcement for this channel, if you're watching 49ers fan, Diamond Lenore joining me Tuesday, 5 Pacific time, 8 Eastern. So hey. That'll be happening.
That dude's a starter for the 49ers. That's dope. I'm going to watch that.
Fantastic. Second time on this show, by the way.
Dope. Well, cool. Enjoy. Also, if you feel like calling in and talking to me about sports or the Niners, I'm going to start a show on my channel in 10 minutes. So stick around.
There you go, everybody. Appreciate you all for joining, buddy. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
See you guys.
See ya.